told the guys I was going to say this, but I wanted to point out why, for me personally, this was so meaningful, because many of us who grew up here in the 90s, you know it was a certain kind of experience, right? And we have a lot of challenges. And we have a lot to celebrate, but we also have a lot to grieve. But these artists here, they took it upon themselves to commemorate our stories, to make sure that our stories, our friends, the people we loved and lost were not forgotten. And that always meant a lot to me and to so many people, because many people don't care about our stories. So who else is going to tell it besides us, right? And that's what this wall symbolizes. But we wanted to move beyond just our local stories today. The artwork you're going to see commemorates the Union of Filipino and Mexican Workers. How many of you know about this history already? A handful? Good. And it's okay if you haven't, because this is not stuff that they always teach us in school. But you have a couple of folks here who are educators, and we want to make sure our stories are known. We're standing here in Paradise Hills. This is home to one of the largest Filipino, Mexican, Black, African American communities. We are each other's neighbors. We are each other's friends. And we forget sometimes that the stories we share go back further than even any of us here. The artwork you're going to see commemorates the Union of the Agricultural Workers, California, and United Farm Workers. There were Filipino manongs who up in the Bay Area work in the fields, and unfortunately were not being treated well by their employees. They were asked to work for free, not getting compensated. So they decided to go on strike. But then they realized they couldn't do this alone. None of us can make change alone. So they asked our Mexican counterparts to also join in on the effort, which they did. That was Cesar Chavez. And the people who asked him were Larry Itliong, Vera Cruz, and Imotan, who made sure that they knew that if we don't stand together, we're going to fall together. Right? I actually have the great honor, I'm staring at two of my adopted community parents, David and Mama Tere Valladolid, who organized with Larry and Cesar. They worked in the fields alongside them, and they're here with us today. And they didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm so glad that they're willing. We would love for Papi and Mama, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a couple words about what this means for you and why it's so important to make sure that our generations are carrying it.
I'm already emotional. So I'm from Imperial Valley, that's Central California, which was an agricultural area. And my mother was Mexicana from Mexico, my father was Ilocano. And so we worked in the fields. My dad would, during the summer, we would go to the fields, and of course, no bathrooms, we would do a lot of behind the bushes, and, take a nap or whatever, because we were little, and then as we were growing up, that's what my dad would say, it would be 120 degrees that we'd be working in the field, with no bathroom, etc. And so my dad was one that said, that's why you need an education, so you have to work out there in the field. And we did. And so when I came to San Diego State, the United Farm Workers had already started in the 60s. And I remember some of the organizers coming and saying, we need students to come and organize. And at that time, unfortunately, it was Mr. Chavez who was kind of like the forefront. And so I did, I became a student organizer, volunteer, because some people couldn't believe that farm workers were like not making minimal wage and that they were being exploited. But I did, because I worked the field. Now, fortunately, I only did it during the summers with my parents, and then during the rest of the year I would go to school. So I became involved because I could relate to what was going on. I had the honor of meeting Cesar Chavez and Bill Cruz Pesci. Larry Itliong had left by the time I got super involved, but Bill Cruz was always there, and there was so much passion among the workers and among the organizers that were there. And so, first of all, and at the time, we, like I said, we didn't think much of, the fact that, we were just doing what was right. But to see all of you, to see Corinne, to see the unveiling, and And then the fact that you guys have carried on, or some of you have carried on the struggle, that still continues. I mean, there's still workers out there that aren't getting paid enough or aren't being organized, because for a long time the unions didn't recognize farm workers. It was, you know, the firefighters and everybody, other professionals. And it wasn't until much later that, well, Cesar and Philip Cruz and everybody else, that then they became, you know, they received or they actually won a contract. I was there with the first union contract in Coachella, California. I was very excited. I was one of the what do you call it?
You were one of the first, Mama.
Yeah, but so anyway, we were there, and so it was really powerful to see our struggle, you know, have some fruit. But then, since then, there's still a lot of struggle going on with, you know, a lot of the union breakers and union busting going on. But thank you so much for what you're doing and you're carrying on. So thank you, Corinne, for inviting us.
My name is David.
Get closer to you. You gotta get closer to it.
And when I came back from combat in Vietnam in 1969, and my brother Tony was connected to Cesar. Cesar had helped him get into law school. He got back and started working after he finished law school. He connected me with Cesar and Larry. And I was working with them, trying to support them, everything they were doing. And then one day they took me outside. They said, "David, can we talk to you?" I said, "Sure." And they took me outside and they said, "We sense some self-destruction in you. You probably have a right to be destructive given the hell you've been through in that war." He says, "But you can always choose to be constructive and help us build a better world." And so I ended up following Cesar's advice, and I worked for 55 years serving the community. And I served Cesar in all the struggles that he was in. I was in his marches. Unfortunately lost him and passed away. I was the director of his police unit at the funeral. And so I got to work very close to some incredible people, and I want to congratulate Corinne and all of you that have been involved in making this story continue and not let it go away, because we have to learn from our past so we can prepare for our future. We're right now facing some serious challenges. So I want to thank everybody and congratulate you for this trophy.
Thank you so much. Now you're going to get to hear from the artists, the folks who actually did this work. I'm going to call up Ron Mercado.
How's everybody doing? Woo! So this neighborhood is very special to myself, but also historically, if you understand the story behind it. Our parents came here, at least my parents came here as immigrants. They joined the Navy, as a lot of your parents here did, and when they ranked up, they had enough money. This whole neighborhood was brand new development, and so imagine this is like the old Rancho Del Rey, the old East Lake. This is all brand new development, and a whole bunch of Filipino people that were able to join the U.S. Navy in the 50s, 60s, 70s ended up buying houses in this neighborhood. That's why there's so many damn Filipinos out here. And so I went out into the world, and this is everything that I knew. But when I went out into the world, there's not a lot of places like this. Like, when people come out here, there's like, man, why are there so many Filipinos out here? National City, Paradise Hills, it's so concentrated. And that's because 32nd Street Naval Base is just right there. Very convenient to go to and from work. But they came in an era where they just came here to work. They came here to work. They want the kids to go to school, get good grades, don't get into trouble, graduate, go get a good job. That was their dream. That was their vision for us. That's the American dream. What they didn't calculate into the equation was that when the 80s and 90s came around, there was other extracurricular activities that were going on that kids like us could get involved in. And so when large carrier strike groups would go out, like a third of the dads would be gone in this neighborhood, if you think about it. And so while the dads were out at sea, guess what we were doing? Well, me, myself, I wasn't getting into too much trouble, but art was my lane. That's what I did. I drew, and so hip hop, graffiti. It was a golden era during the 90s. I said, hey, you know what? Sign me up for that job. You know what I mean? Because I'm not built for all these other jobs. You know what I mean? So I signed up for graffiti. That was my lane. That's what I was known for. And I had a neighbor down the street, or a couple houses down. His name was Romy. Some of you guys might know Romy. But he painted this wall originally. And when we came of age, we hit him up like, hey, do you mind if we go over it? He said, yeah, feel free. Feel free. And so me and Junior hit it up. Not really being too conscious of the message that we were putting out. And I left in the 90s. I was like, yeah, I got to get up out here and went to college. And I would meet people in college, and I'd say, oh, where are you from? Oh, from San Diego. Oh, me too. Cool. Oh, you went to Morris? Oh, okay. And I tell them who I was, and they'd be like, oh, so you were the person painting that wall? I was like, yeah, me and my friends. And they're like, we used to drive by there every week, hoping that you guys would put something new up, like a Sunday comic book, you know? And I would meet, I met a ton of people like that. Like, so I'm just in awe of all the people that would meet and say, oh, that was you? Wow. And I never knew the impact that I would have, because, you know, I was just out here trying to get, you know, props or whatever, but people were really inspired by the work that we did. So, like I said, I went to college, and I got educated, took, you know, Black history class, African American history, learned about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Panther movement. And that inspired me to sign up for the Asian American Studies class. Learned about the movement, the United Farm Workers Movement, Larry Itnion, Philip Veracruz, and the relationship with Cesar Chavez, and how the Filipino-Mexican communities had to come together to take down the grape industry. It was huge. Like, I know not a lot of us here were around for it, but if you read history, it was big. It was big news. What was I going to say? Isang Baksak. So that means when one, literally translates to one down, meaning if one of us is down, we're all down. And so when I came back, you know, I've been gone, traveled the world, got orders back at 32nd Street. I joined the Navy. I don't know if I included that, but I joined the Navy. I came back, got with the old crew and said, you know, one day we should paint that wall again. But this time, like, put a grown-up message. Like, you know, we're educated, we got kids, we're part of the community. You know, I got a house down the street. I don't want nobody spray paint on my fence. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, we came up with the idea of celebrating the Manos. We put it during Filipino American History Month, but we're kind of on Filipino time, so we're celebrating in December. But so the message was that, you know, all these things that we learned later on in college, I wish we got taught when we were earlier, because, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, if we had known that we had worked alongside with the Mexican, with the Black communities, you know, that we probably would have gotten along. Like, when we were living here, it was on, you know what I mean? It was ridiculous for everybody that was here. It was bonkers. But if we knew that, we would have had a different perspective on looking at our neighbors. And so that's why we painted it, because I'm still into the arts, and when you drive through one of San Diego's most, you know, cultural spots, Chicano Park, they have tributes to the movement. And so what we're doing here, small little wall, nothing as big as Chicano Park, but we're extending that story all the way out to here. So all the way from Logan, so all the way here. Like, we hear you over there. We're right here. We're alongside you guys, you know what I mean? So you'll see symbols on the wall, the UFW flag. If you read about it, you know, that's a flag that shows that, you know, we're for the movement. With that being said, I want to introduce my godbrother, Mr. Azaro Asensio Jr. Thank you.
Not a zealous man, so I had to write this one down. Let every skillful craftsman among you come and make all that the Lord has commanded. Exodus 35:10. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming here today. Art isn't just about what looks good on a wall. It's survival. It's how we make it through, how we speak when no one's listening. Growing up, it was our voice, just like that car's bumper right there. Our therapy and our way out. Now look at us. Many of the old crew members have moved on to work for the city, state, government, still creating and turning visions into reality. And I'm in the classroom, inspiring the next wave of creators. God's will be done. We're here for the next generation, to inspire them and remind them that art isn't just a hobby. It can change your life and enhance it. That's why we're planning workshops to show you how to create, how to do it right, and how to turn your talent into an opportunity. So don't just enjoy the art today, join us. Each one, teach one. When I say isang, you say bagsak. Isang.
Bagsak.
Isang.
Bagsak.
Thank you. And now, Corinne, or Dr. Max,
Yeah.
Yeah, that part. I want to close this out with a quick quote. This is from Andy Imutan, who was one of the Filipino farm workers. We knew the potential when we joined together, not as competitors, but as true brothers and sisters and siblings. No, this is not just an unveiling. This is a reminder of who we are, a reminder of where we come from, and a reminder to be proud of that. Yeah, I did just get my doctorate, and one of my cousins goes, "Isn't it funny when we were little hood rats, and now look at us?" I'm like, you know, you can be proud of that though. You can take that and celebrate that. We're all from this neighborhood. We didn't wait for somebody else to come and give us the artwork and the beauty that we've been asking for all our lives. So I'm so proud of these gentlemen. We are going to have Ace and Romali over there unveil. But before we do that, we're going to do that as I lead you all in the Unity Club. How many of you have done Unity Club before? No? All right, well, we're going to learn. So we're going to start clapping together slowly until we get on beat. Once we're on beat and on rhythm, we're going to keep clapping faster, faster, faster. And the gentlemen are going to unveil the artwork. Are we ready? Ready? All right, clap. Slow. Nice. Faster. Go. There we go. Okay, this is the right side. Pretty much closes up our formal program, but does anyone have any questions of us? That's not your ear. You can meditate now. Anyone have any questions? Ron, June? No, we're good. Okay, take the time. If you want to walk over and see the wall closely, just please be careful. Take turns, you're not going to get Thank you all so much for coming. We love you. We love you. We love you.
I need to cue up the music and start playing the music.